Peace, blessings, salutations. Yarima Karama here. Real life, real talk. These these are truly the days of our lives. So, with all the commotion that's going on, uh, with all the deaths. I mean, with all the loss of life, and there's for all the deaths that there are ones that make the headlines, and then there's quite a few that never make the headlines. So the newest one we know is Jamarion Robinson, but we've had Philando Castile, we've had Alton Sterling, we've had Eric Garner, we've had Sandra Bland, we've had Michael Brown, we've had Trayvon Martin, we've had Tamir Rice. I mean, and the list goes on and on. And so and now you got the situation in Milwaukee. Not to mention the natural disasters. You got Baton Rouge, portion of Louisiana that's underwater right now. And so um, there comes a point where we have to recognize that we're in a war, and take the blinders off and say, okay, we're not we're for black people. It's almost like we're not even in a war. We're just being attacked. we're I think those who are attacking believe it's a war. They know it's a war, but we tend to be on the side of, well, these are isolated incidents. We tend to be on the side of the marching, the praying, and the screaming out, and then there's another death. So then we march, we pray, we scream or cry about it, and then there's another death. And then we march, we pray, we scream and cry about it. Then there's another. So that's the cycle, which lets me and brothers and sisters in the conscious community know that the majority don't believe that there's a war going on. And so the elements of war that we're in, education, no land. So therefore, hard to build an infrastructure with no land. Even though we can build a cultural infrastructure, but eventually there has to be some land. Economics is a big part, because every time there's our bridge to building, it either gets destroyed or just taken away. I mean, destroyed is the best word because that's what happens. Our institutions of building, our economic foundations always get destroyed as soon as the build process, as soon as we start seeing successes and gains. And so I'm a big pusher for the economic empowerment, group economics, group community building, community economics, and black growth, which is why I push the brands. You see, I'm wearing the Twid gear, which is produced by a brother down in Texas by the name of Carver's Hadnot. So I push this. Ivory Carter, I push his apparel, Compass, and so we have to do everything that we can. But most importantly, we have to realize that we're in a war. And so the first targets of that war are our children. Well, it's really our men, because the art of war. One of the first things you learn is that you take the strength, and then once you take the strength, everything else after that, they will submit. So the targets of the war are the men, the strength. And so then after that, they feel like they can control the women, when in some cases, women are actually some of the strongest forces. They're screaming out. They're standing on the front lines. And so they take the men. They're even taking the women. If she's strong and she's outspoken, they take her out. And so then the next element of the war is the education. It's to miseducate our children, and which is done easily, because you build educational institutions that resemble prisons, so that now your kids go through school. As soon as they come into the school, they go through metal detectors. Well, in a prison or a juvenile facility, you go through metal detectors. They go into dilapidated structures. Some of the structures have, some of the classrooms have no windows. Well, there are prison cells that have no windows either. They call them segregation, or the hole. So that's the next level of the war, is to miseducate our children, because basically those who have waged war, uh, those white conspirators, and even some black, they have said that in order to win the war, we have to make sure that we indoctrinate the mindset of of the seeds. And so we can indoctrinate the mindsets of the seeds to make them like us, to make them docile, to make them submissive, to emasculate the young men, and to make the young women, some of them, feel masculine. If we can change gender roles, all of that that's taking place right before our eyes, it speaks to the volume, to the level of war that we are in. And so they have this thing called, and I just did a live stream. If you haven't connected with me on Facebook, connect with me there, please. I do a lot of live streams. Just did a live stream the other day on this thing called estrogen that goes into our water. And basically, what the brother did is he did tests on frogs and showed how the frogs, a male frog, after um, having a large amount of this estrogen, the male frog then becomes a female. Literally changes over to a female, basically, to the point where the male frog is able to produce eggs, because it actually believes it is a female, and has uh, done some type of production as a female. So I'm not a scientist, but I just thought, and the brother said, when you take that on a larger level, when you understand that people are consuming this water with this estrogen in it, and then not only that, people, but uh, the areas where these things are being filtered, poor communities, predominantly black, predominantly Latino, and you start to really just look at the dynamics of the war. We're being hit on all fronts. So it's not so our men are being killed. Our women are being made to feel like you have to call on the white man uh, as your God, for the ones who aren't on the forefront of the fight, who aren't standing up, and many of our women are. Uh, Again, gender roles reversed, and not to say that our men haven't and aren't standing up, because they are as well. And so, which is why I take nothing away from. I love the brother Dr. Boyce Watkins. I love the brother Dr. Umar, because anybody who's fighting on the front lines of white supremacy and is fighting against that, doing everything that they can to dismantle that system. Hey, uh, whatever happens in their private life, they're out here on these forefronts. I could care less. So, um, but that's what happens. And so, miseducation, that's part of the war. Then another big part is the food. Uh, Not only putting things in our food, but just what we consume, what we eat. What, again, economics plays a part in this, because if you're not able to afford certain foods, you can't eat healthier, and they know that. And so they make it very expensive to eat healthy. And so you put garbage into your body, and you slowly start to kill yourself. It's it's all it's almost like a form of suicide, but you don't even know it. You don't even realize. Subliminally, it might hit you every now and then, like, man, I really need to eat better. I really need to be doing better. But you never really, you never really get it, because the cycle of life has us all in such a rush. It has us all just struggling to survive, just to make it. So you never really get the point that, wow, I should be eating much healthier than I am. You miss how um, this thing that I just ate provides no real sustenance except sugar. and so we and then the element of PTSD. So they make our communities war zones, so that we're and some of that blame lies on us. We're fighting amongst each other, but we know that most of this comes from that element of slavery, and it's been passed down, uh, which is why um, we have that hatred towards one another, and it's been instilled in us, and it was instilled in us, like, and this was something that didn't just happen overnight. It happened progressively over the course of time. And so in order to come out of this, in order to even realize that we're in a war and to start to um, do the things necessary, um, we're going to have to come to an understanding that we're messed up mentally, that we do have PTSD along with PTSS, post traumatic slave syndrome. Then we're going to have to come to the recognition that we have a problem that needs to be addressed, that needs to be fixed. And then we're going to have to start coming with some solutions. So we have to combat the miseducation of our children. One of those ways that we combat that is by homeschooling. But in order to homeschool, the parent has to have something up here, in order to homeschool. It's like why would you, when you see the condition of our people, and when you see what they're doing in schools, um, you should be pulling your kids out, homeschooling them. Why would you give your kids to a system that you know? But again, coming to the recognition that we even have a problem. So why would you give your children to a system that you know is simply there to destroy them? So that's first and foremost. The next thing is putting protection on our men and our women. It's so imperative that kings protect queens, and that queens respect kings. But kings have to protect. We have to protect our queens because they are the producers of life, the creators of life, and so we can't have our strongest being killed. And they trust me, they do target. They target. Um, they target us in that capacity. They look for the strength, and so we have to start coming up with solutions, remedies. First, we have to recognize that we're in a war, then come up with some of the solutions and remedies to combat and put up defenses. And so that's just my take today. I'm Yurima Karama. Connect with me. Go to my webpage, www.yurimakarama.com. You can go there for booking info. I do speaking engagements. You can go there for messaging. You can also go there to find out my performance dates and locations. My new album is finished, Up From the Trenches, Out of the Tombs. That will be out, released September 1st. Between the 1st and the 5th, I will also have the music video, which will be released later this week. I will post that, let you see from the first single. The song is called Zero and Steady Dropping. So connect with me. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I do live streams quite frequently. So with that said, my name is Yurima Karama. Let's connect. Let's network. Let's build. Let's come up with solutions for our people, for our nation. Peace, blessings, salutations. One, I'm out.